What's up, guys? It is the man with the hottest wheels, Corey Hot Wheels, and it is now time for every wrestling fan's favorite show, WrestleTalk. That's right, new week, new episode. Let's get into it. We will start with Impact because I only have one thing to talk about with Impact. And that's nothing against Impact, it's just kind of hard to get multiple talking points for one show that's once a week for 2 hours, to do that every week. But to give you guys a heads up, next week, WrestleTalk will feature exclusively talking about Emergence with Impact and All In with AEW. I don't know if I'm going to actually be watching All In because, pay-per-views are like $50. But, we will go over the match card and I will give my predictions on who I think is going to win. So, and then Impact, I will actually be watching Emergence because I do have Impact Plus. So when we do WrestleTalk, it'll probably be done on Monday. So we'll just run every card down for both of those shows. And, I'll give you my thoughts on the matches that happened and who won and that sort of thing. So, with that said, let's get in to talk about Impact. And the one bullet point I have for Impact this week is a match that took place between Moose and relatively newcomer to Impact Wrestling, Kevin Knight. Now, I specifically am going to talk about this match because, Moose has been in Impact Wrestling for a long time, and he's a former world champion, and even though Kevin Knight didn't get the win, I think Kevin Knight looked really, really good in the match, gave Moose a run for his money, and it's solidifying that Impact is trying to build a future star in Kevin Knight, which is something I feel that since its inception, TNA, Impact, whatever you want to call it, has done a heck of a job building up stars. So, and it was just an absolutely awesome back and forth match. Really well done on the booking by Impact, and, and I look forward to seeing what Impact has in store for Kevin Knight. So, let's go to WWE. AEW is the most talking points that I have for this week, so we'll go to WWE. First thing is we will talk about the Raw debut of former NXT Women's Champion Indi Hartwell. I know a lot of people online will be like, why'd you have Indi lose to Rhea Ripley in her debut match? But I'm like, hey, she fought the current women's world champion, and she looked pretty good doing it. So, and, it took Indi a while to get her footing in NXT, but, she's really won over the hearts of the WWE universe, and, as young as she is, I think she's not too much older than me. I think she might only be like a year older than me. Or we might even be the same age. I don't know. But, so, they do have a future with Indi, and I think they're going to try to bring back The Way. I believe Johnny is hurt right now, which, unfortunately has plagued Johnny Gargano's main roster run. But I believe they're trying to bring back The Way, and instead of having Theory, have Dexter Lumis instead. So, as I always say on WrestleTalk, we shall see what happens. But I think Indy looked pretty impressive in her Raw debut. And to the next point is cracks in the Judgment Day. They've been kind of teasing for a while that either Finn or Damien's going to lead Judgment Day. Now, I was reading a few places online because I'm a part of several wrestling groups on Facebook and I like several pages that, they were thinking about making Damian Priest a big babyface star for, the Latino community. But I don't know. I mean, Damian was good as a face. But I just think with his size and his athleticism and, his in-ring style and his character, I think he's just better as a heel. I think Finn Balor is a really good heel. But, I don't know if they're just going to add J.D. McDonough into the Judgment Day, or if, Finn Balor's going to get jealous of Priest having the Money in the Bank contract and kick him out of the Judgment Day. So, I don't know what's going to happen, but it seems to me there is a lot of cracks and mishaps going on in the Judgment Day. It's like they'll get on the same page, and then they'll be in a match, and then, Finn will cost Priest, or vice versa. So, we shall see what happens there. And, Wesley versus Carmelo Hayes, that will be on NXT this Tuesday, I believe, for Heatwave, if I am not mistaken. I am really looking forward to that match. Wesley and Carmelo Hayes have become two of my personal favorites on NXT. So I'm really, really looking forward to, seeing this. And I think Wesley's going to have a hell of a showing. Ultimately, I think Carmelo's going to pick up the win. But I think Wesley's going to look good and prove that he can hang in the main event scene on NXT. But, talking about Wesley, to me anyway, it seems like they're teasing him turning heel. Which, that would be kind of interesting to see him as a heel. Because we see his boys, the Rascals in TNA, having a heel run, and I think they're doing a hell of a job with Wentz and Trey and Impact. So, Wes did that little dub to the Rascals, when he did that outside suicide dive or moonsault, in the triple threat match with Ali and Dom. But, so we'll see what happens there. But, let's talk about Thea Hale for a second. It seems like there's also some cracks in the Chase U camp, because in the submission match with Tiffany Stratton, she had a Boston Crab walked in on Thea Hale, and Andre Chase ended up throwing in the towel. And, Thea has been pretty pissed at Andre for that reason. So, I'm wondering if they're going to make her more aggressive. Not be like this innocent schoolgirl anymore and turn her into a more, aggressive heel. So, that would be pretty interesting to see her, turn heel and see what she can do as a heel and help solidify herself as a star in NXT. And on to another NXT topic. We have, for the Heritage Cup, we have Nathan Frazier versus Noam Dar. So Noam Dar and Nathan Frazier were supposed to have a match for the Heritage Cup a while back, but Noam Dar got injured, and his his running buddy in his Metaphor faction, Oro Mensah, took his place, and Nathan Frazier actually defeated Oro Mensah to become the new Heritage Cup champion. And for a while, Noam Dar was all mopey and all depressed, and then, the rest of the faction ended up getting him another Heritage Cup trophy. So he's been parading around with that, claiming he never lost it. He's the champion, and Nathan Frazier is the champion. So they will have a match to decide once and for all who is the Heritage Cup champion, because Tyler Bate ended up defeating Noam Dar, and we thought that Tyler Bate took the cup, but Noam Dar asked for it back, and Tyler Bate ended up giving it to him. I didn't really understand what that was all about, but nonetheless, so we are going to have a rightful NXT Heritage Cup champion after this Tuesday night, when Noam Dar and Nathan Frazier collide for the Heritage Cup Championship. And switching gears, it has been reported on several outlets on the internet and confirmed by Lacey Evans herself via her social media that she has indeed parted ways with the WWE. And, everybody was speculating as to why. And, she ended up saying on her social media it was so that she could focus on her cafe that she's building to help, people that, are overcoming addiction, or, have family members that are battling addiction, or, veterans, because Lacey herself is a veteran, and, it has been documented on WWE that she has openly talked about, being in the family of addicts and moving all the time, and, so it's really awesome to see Lacey Evans do this, and, and it's like, people can come in for like a free donut and a coffee and just talk about it, talk about what they're going through, like their struggles. So I think that's really awesome to see, and God bless Lacey Evans for doing that. I did like the face Lacey Evans, when they were like making it more personal, like her talking about her life. But honestly, they were doing good with the Sassy Southern Belle gimmick. But they ended up just dropping that, and honestly, I don't know, it just seemed like, Lacey wanted to do another venture outside of wrestling, because she does her YouTube, she does her TikTok, and she wanted to open up her cafe. So, best wishes to Lacey Evans and whatever she decides to do. And, maybe one day, I don't travel much, but maybe one day I can pay that cafe a visit, just to, buy a donut and, help give to her cause. And, I just think it's really cool what she's doing. So, switching gears, Edge celebrated his 25 years in WWE. He had an absolutely amazing match on SmackDown against Sheamus. And it has been said by Edge himself that this is the last match on his contract. But his contract is not actually up until September. But everybody's saying, oh, Edge is going to go to All In and da-da-da-da-da, because Christian's in AEW, the Hardys are in AEW. Which, it wouldn't shock me if Edge wanted to go to AEW to end it, to have a big marquee feud with Christian, or, to have the Edge and Christian tag team reunite one more time. But I don't think that's going to happen for a while, personally. But, nonetheless, I've been an Edge head since I started watching WWE back in 2009, 2010. So, Edge, my man, it's been a pleasure watching you over the years, dude. Thank you for all the countless memories and the entertainment that you gave us fans, and I'm so glad you were able to come back from your neck injury and end your career on your own terms. So, with that said, let's transition to AEW. And the first thing I'm going to bring up is all the CM Punk controversy going around. It's been reported by several outlets on social media that he, got Adam Page asked to leave from Collision. Ryan Nemeth, which is the brother of Dolph Ziggler, left from Collision. And it seems like Tony Khan is pretty much letting CM Punk run Collision. Like, to me, CM Punk is like the Hulk Hogan of the AEW. Because it's no secret that Hulk Hogan, as big of a star as he was back in the 80s, if he didn't like you, you were not going over. And it seems like that's what's happening here with CM Punk. And I've been a CM Punk fan for years. I was screaming like a fangirl when he came back to AEW. And I really like what he's doing on Collision, but I don't know. It's just kind of like LeBron James. How whatever team LeBron James is on, they let him run. And it's like, no. Like, you work for the promoter. I mean, I understand, like, certain people are not going to like each other. And you want to keep them separated to avoid drama. But, the easiest thing to do, and I've said this before, and people are just going to be like, well, they're copying WWE, is have Collision be one roster, and AEW Dynamite be another. And then, any people that have beef with each other, you separate them onto one show. But, Tony Khan, as much as I love AEW and what Tony Khan's done for the business, it just seems like a big drama. You know what I mean? Because you have all this talent that's coming in and has all these massive egos, and you're just letting them run things, and it's been utter chaos. Like, people have told me to stay away from the wrestling business because of all the backstage politics and all that other crap. But I'm like, dude, like, I'm going into the business to meet friends that like wrestling like me, and just to help out a little promotion. I only plan on maybe doing 2 promotions. That being WWE and TWA. 2 promotions that are around here. And, if any other promotion comes semi-local to me, I might, try to get on the card. But, I'm not going to get knee-deep in all this political garbage. It's like, I'm here to do a job, whatever the promoter asks me to do, I'm going to do it. Because they're the ones running the ship. It's like my good friend from TWA, Yellow Man, said. In a wrestling promotion, the talent is the team and the promoter is the coach. So, you may not always agree with what the coach says, but you listen to him. You're allowed to give feedback and maybe make a better suggestion if you're not comfortable doing it. But, there's just attitude that I don't like, and people say, yeah, screw you, I'm not going to do that. Like, that's just disrespectful. Because you can't go to any other 9-to-5 job and do that. Why? Because what happens? You get fired. So, it just seems like, CM Punk's using his ego. And as much as I love the guy, it's like, dude, narrow it down a little bit. You're working for the promotion. If a wrestler wants to just go and put themselves over and not have the people they don't like in their little promotion, then go start your own. But Anyway, that's enough of that. Let's get in and talk about the Sting and Prince Nana segment on Dynamite this past Wednesday night. I thought it was a heck of a segment. It brought back Joker Sting from TNA 2011, and it was just an absolute funny segment. And I feel Sting's just having the time of his life, ending his career in AEW, and and that's how it should be, because Sting is a widely respected veteran in the wrestling industry, and I just thought it was a really well done segment between him and Prince Nana. So let's transition gears to Chris Jericho and Don Callis. So for a few weeks now, they've been saying that Chris Jericho's going to leave the Jericho Appreciation Society and join the Don Callis family. Well, so we saw a couple weeks ago on Dynamite that, the Jericho Appreciation Society had their meeting and all of them walked out. Because they're like, Chris, we do all this stuff for you, but yet, what do you do for us? So they all walked out. So then, come the following week, which was this past Wednesday, Chris Jericho and Don Callis came into the ring, and, and Chris Jericho accepted the invitation to join the society, but Don Callis had a little painting over there, and Don Callis was just like, oh, and don't worry about it, just let's go. And then Chris Jericho went and uncovered it, and it was Don Callis holding Chris Jericho's head. And, Chris Jericho got mad about it, and Don Callis was just like, well, because of your massive ego, I thought he was going to say no. And then, they argued, and then, Katusha came out and attacked Chris Jericho, and then Will Ospreay came out as well, and Chris Jericho was busted open, and then Sammy Guevara came out and rescued Chris. So at All In, we're going to have Chris Jericho versus Will Ospreay, which I think was supposed to happen in 2021 in New Japan, but due to all the travel restrictions because of COVID, that did not happen. And it will happen at Wembley Stadium at All In. And speaking of All In, let's talk about Kenny Omega and All In. So he did a sit-down interview with good old Jim Ross at Daly's Place in Jacksonville, and they were talking about All In. And he was also ambushed by the Golden Bullet Club, or Bullet Club Gold, excuse me, and the Don Callis family, which I think now just has Katusha in it and maybe Will Ospreay. But and they sent Kenny to the hospital. So then at All In, it will be Kenny Omega, Hangman Page, and Kota Ibushi taking on, I believe it's Bullet Club Gold. I don't know. I'll have that, talk about that more in depth next week when I talk about All In. But, at All In, Kenny will be teaming with two of his former tag team partners, Hangman Adam Page and the Gold Star Kota Ibushi. So, next I'm going to talk about a match that happened on Ring of Honor. And it wasn't a 5-star match, but this match, I want to talk about it because it's kind of sentimental to me, and I'll tell you why. Because, I've gone to a promotion in Marietta, Ohio called Remix Pro Wrestling. And they get some of the big names there to come and do it. And, you know, I've talked about how I met Britt Baker. I think I've talked about it on this channel. How I met Britt Baker, and she gave me that autograph that still hangs on my wall. And I also met Madison Rayne, and she fought one of my favorite wrestlers on the indies that I enjoy watching, Danny Moe, who also teams up with another indie wrestler that I like, Facade. So Danny Moe and Madison Rayne had a match in Columbus, which is Madison Rayne's hometown, and, you know, Madison Rayne picked up the win, but, you know, Danny Moe had a good showing, you know, because Danny used to just be Facade's manager, and now she's a wrestler herself and has been on Raw, you know, and Danny's made quite a name for herself, and Danny is a sweetheart. I love Danny. I love Facade. Two excellent people, and I just thought it was really cool to watch two of my favorite wrestlers that I have had the privilege of meeting personally wrestle on a big stage like Ring of Honor. So, in another form of Ring of Honor, we have the Righteous and the Dark Order. So, you know, before Brody Lee passed away, you know, the Dark Order was kind of like a faction where they just beat up people. And then, you know, after Brody Lee died, they turned face and, you know, they started taking over being the Elite and being more comedic. And then Stu Grayson came back to Ring of Honor and joined the Righteous because, you know, he got tired of all the Dark Order's goofiness. Well, at All In, or not at All In, at the last Ring of Honor pay-per-view, I think it might have been Super Card of Honor, something like that, the Dark Order and the Righteous had a 6-man no honor match. And, I mean, these two teams beat the living heck out of each other. And they ended up, you know, forming mutual respect. And now Dark Order has been more aggressive, you know, going back to their roots. And I just think if the 6 of those guys team up to be a big faction on Ring of Honor, like, look out. They're going to be a tear. So, I'm really interested to see where this goes. And our last point of the day is a match that happened on Rampage between Commander and Rey Fenix, which I've also had the pleasure of meeting Rey Fenix at Remix, and have seen him wrestle live a couple times, once on Remix, and then when I went to AEW Dynamite in Charleston, West Virginia. And these two guys just defined what Lucha Libre was about. You know, I'm a big fan of Lucha Libre, and, you know, these two guys tore the house down, had an absolute awesome match. And then, and another Lucha Libre match that was pretty cool this week was Gravity and, oh, crap. Wait, is it Grando Loco? I can't remember his name. Like, I'm still learning a lot of the regulars on Ring of Honor. Like, they had a really good match, too. I was coloring most of the time on my iPad, so I only looked up at it a couple times, but, you know, when I was watching my recording of Rampage earlier today, that Commander and Rey Fenix match was just absolutely amazing. Rey Fenix was able to pick up the win, but Commander just did this sick move where he just walked on the ropes and then did a shooting star press. It was just absolutely incredible to see. I mean, it is unreal what these luchadors can do. So, with that being said, guys, that concludes WrestleTalk for this week. As a reminder, next week we will be exclusively talking about All In and Emergence. So, you know, that will be WrestleTalk for next week. But until the next video, guys, thank you all for watching. Thank you for your continued support. and I will see you guys in my next video. Oh, and before I wrap up, I will try to get the match that I will be a part of this weekend for WWE. I will try to get that on video to be able to put on my YouTube channel for you guys. So, with that being said, thank you all again for watching, and I will see you in the next video.